My name is Edward Farrell. I run a cybersecurity practice in Sydney called Mercury Information Security Services, or just Mercury. My job is to manage and oversee the business as well as deliver penetration testing services. I delivered a talk called Monitoring the Monitors, Keeping the SOC in Check. And the presentation was off the back of several pen tests that we've done over the years, where we've identified that technically, whilst we can deliver awesome penetration testing activities, if they're not tying in operationally or strategically higher up to an intent, which in this case is ensuring that a managed security service provider is doing their job, then our efforts are useless. So I wanted to take the audience down a path of, here's some of the things that we've observed when we've done SOC-based evaluations, and here's a few paths to holding a SOC accountable, or a managed security service for that matter. My typical day at work would be starting off hopefully at around 8:30, 9 o'clock, making sure the internet hasn't caught on fire, and then we'd be delivering consulting services to one of our customers. Concurrently, there would also be several points where we'd be planning for the next day's activities as well, and keeping an eye and helping through and mentoring my team. So I currently have 4 phenomenal pen testers in our team. We've just also taken on a 5th. So my job is balancing between delivering services, planning for the future, and looking after a really cool crew. The best part is seeing members of my team mature and grow and learn some phenomenal technical skills that I've helped facilitate. They've learnt them, they've driven them, and they've created them themselves, but I feel phenomenal for having opened that door. There's 2 team members right now that have just matured phenomenally over the last year, and seeing that has been a really good feeling. The worst thing about my job is working at what the future looks like. So whether that's, do we have an engagement coming up, or the other side of that house is how do we fulfill that engagement and ensure that we will meet the expectations that we've given our customers. And I think that's just more reflective of our own high standards and making sure that we can keep it, because that's certainly one of our big challenges. We have a high personal standard, and keeping to that and ensuring we keep consistent is our big challenge. I originally started off as a network engineer. So let's go back to when I was 15. I thought I'd be a programmer. I then went to university and hated programming. But then I found network engineering. I went into network engineering as a career, loved it, and then it evolved into cybersecurity. Well, it was just IT security back then. We didn't tack on cyber. And then 11 years ago, I started moving down towards cyber. Off the back of which I then evolved and took a love in doing security assessment and assurance activities, so the whole suite of pen testing services. And so that's a bit of the how, and the why I think was just because it's what attracted me. That's where I got my curiosity from. So if people are keen to keep up to date with the industry, I would say the best sources out there are things such as professional development bodies. So CREST is one example of that. But also look for some of the more informal opportunities out there. Sec Talks has been a place where I've been contributing and also learning a lot from myself. B-Sides, which we have adjacent to CREST this year, to CRESTCon this year, is also another phenomenal place where learning and getting driven and inspired to do great things is just all around you. Advice to someone who wants to enter the industry. I guess my advice is find your own strengths and weaknesses in what you love and what you hate, and let that be your driver. That I think is probably the upfront one, but also understand yourself and understand what you are good at, and also what where you are going to be able to provide the most value. If you're a more outgoing person and a more empathetic person, you might be better client-facing, whereas if you're very fastidious and very organised, you might be more inclined towards say a blue team activity. Whereas if you're quite spontaneous and creative, more red team activities. Just to name a few. I guess the other thing as well is don't get caught up or set in your ways on where you think you should be. It's an evolutionary process, and so within that same stroke of you may not know where you want to go, but start that journey of discovery. There's a few role models that do come to mind. Sir John Monash is one. So Sir John Monash was an Australian Army general who was very much an outsider, who then applied a lot of creativity to how to conduct war that helped end World War I very quickly. Grace Hopper would be another one. So she was a significant figure in the United States and is regarded as the mother of Cobalt, but she was also very humble and very softly spoken as well. And I think that in a time where we have Instagram models convincing us of who we are and who we aren't, I think that can actually be a really powerful, quiet, sobering figure.